Now, I've said that becoming an informed consumer is a process that with masterclass or training or just having a copy of the book on hand is just a first step. How has that worked out for you in terms of building on masterclass? And I open it to the floor.
I'm all in. Less
Okay.
words, more clarity, easy on the eyes. Count me in.
But
So
how do you build on that?
so then moving forward right now, I'm reviewing templates and I'm trying not to overwhelm the others that are around me that have not partaken of this class yet. But so I'm making fewer edits than I probably would want to just to start out. It's almost like somebody in one of your previous classes said they changed to using the word states and nobody noticed. I'm just trying to even see what is somebody even going to notice? What's going to get on their radar? And once I'm going through that process, striking the excessive terms of art, the redundancies, these other things, then it's really digging into the meat and potatoes. And so if I say, I'm going to get rid of the word material and I'm going to say deal breaker, I think eyeballs are going to bulge. And I'm really going to have to go back to using your book as a reference and looking at some of the other, case that you cited and other legal definitions. And so it's really going to just become that resource for me moving forward and backing the arguments for what I am changing.
I would say my experience has been there are easier moments to introduce these principles to more dysfunctional sets of contracts, and there are harder moments. And it sounds consistent with what Laura is saying with, for example, replacing representative warrants with states might be something that gets more easily accepted or not even noticed, whereas changing material might be a harder one. But an example I might give would be there seem to be cycles every leap year or El Nino where companies like to change their templates, and I think those moments are great. They're ripe for really implementing these principles. Sometimes it's harder, for example, though, if particular contracts are subject to public scrutiny, if it's in a highly regulated industry, even if it's a house of cards, that language might be harder to mid-cycle to start to dig into.
Yes, redoing templates is very challenging at all sorts of organizations. So I think that is the big task. But Laura, as you suggested, there are ways of working incrementally towards that, rather than just announcing, right, we're overhauling everything and throwing it out and starting anew. So I guess it's just a matter of being aware who your constituencies are and what they can and can't cope with. Kate, do you have anything to add to the mix?
I think for me, it's repetition. Now that I know what I know from the book, I feel lucky just in private practice to see a lot cross my desk every day. And previously, I think, a lot of emails, it's like, I'm CC'd, but maybe I'm not needed here. So I'm just going to not even open these attachments. Now, if I have an opportunity, if I have 5 or 10 minutes before a meeting starts or kind of a dead period, just repetition of looking at something and trying to kind of pick apart what might not be working, naming different types of contract language just in my head, trying to get it cycling of what is going on here, what's causing the dysfunction, how, if I were asked to provide some red lines on this, how would I do it? And there's no way to do it than to simply do it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I've, of course, I nag people about how for every main verb structure, you have to ask yourself, what category of contract language should this be? So it's just a constant inquiry that over time takes place very quickly. So it goes from seeming entirely weird and unnatural to just being part of your process. And I just try and ask the same stupid questions to in a particular way in the training to just try and instill some sort of Pavlovian reflex as to, okay, so it's this context, and so we ask ourselves this kind of question, just to make it as routine as possible.